Welcome to Be With Anna Brand. Today, this episode is all about the importance of putting yourself out there, because I've only done it 6 times and yet this is what I have learned in just those 6 times. The first thing I wrote down was get over the voice thing. Everybody hates hearing themselves. Do you still hate hearing yourself?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. I hated hearing myself to the point where I'd even just listening to my own answer phone message, and actually really, really quickly you just get the hell over it. It's just get over it. You listen to it a couple of times and think that's awful, and then after 3 or 4 times it's done, it's gone, finished. It's over quite quickly.
I think we never sound the way that we think we sound, do we?
Nah. I feel like my voice is a little bit deep. In my head, my voice is not deep, obviously, but much deeper than it sounds on when I hear it back. It's quite, like, I don't know, feels a little bit high-pitched and really, really girly. I know I am a girl, but anyway, I'm over it. It doesn't bother me at all, and that's quite a big deal for me. 2, what I've learned after our conversation with Alfie Joy, really, really, really important thing actually, is I've one of my bad habits, which I've got rid of straight away, hopefully, or I'm trying to. He said to listen to yourself back. So don't watch yourself on video like we were talking about earlier. Just listen to yourself, and you will realise certain things that you do which aren't great to listen to. And I was sort of, whenever somebody was talking, I was constantly going, yeah, wow, really? And it's actually really annoying. And I've stopped that immediately, and that's great. It's absolutely brilliant that I've learned that straight away. 3, my network has grown, our network has grown rapidly. I thought I had a big network anyway, and now it's just phenomenal. All these new people coming into our lives just through this, because we've now got another reason to speak to people. And just the act of putting yourself out there in this way has meant that we've opened up our world. Number 4, you learn more about yourself every single time you do it, which is always a bonus. So I feel like I've learned so much about myself, about the way that I like to talk, the way that I don't like to talk, or the way I don't want to come across, and the things that I find really difficult, like the scripted bits. So having
like
to
introductions.
Like you must have loads now of me trying to introduce it and just go, no, that sounds awful. No, somebody else do it.
Yeah, most of them just say, oh, can you do it?
You do it.
Yeah.
So everyone else has opened the show so far, haven't they?
You have.
Because I can't do it, because I have to sound scripted and it's awful. But anyway, learned that's a quite shallow thing that I've learned lots of other things about myself as well. That's another really, really good reason to do this. 5, people are so much more supportive than you realise they're going to be. I think you start something like this and you just criticise yourself and you put yourself down and you think, oh, everyone's going to find me annoying, everyone's going to think this about me, and everyone's going to hate it. And yeah, of course, some people are going to think that and some people are going to hate it, but everyone's been really supportive, everybody, which is just fantastic. So do it for that reason alone.
This first episode, you were concerned about there being trolls and people not liking what you were doing and being horrible about it. I remember that first conversation that you had with Ellie. But that hasn't happened at all.
It hasn't happened, actually.
No.
Yeah, which is great, because that first episode, well, there you go, that goes back to listening back to yourself. But you can't, unless you do it, you're never going to get that opportunity. And that first episode, people must think, what the fuck is she talking about? And I remember thinking, oh, it doesn't matter because it's the first episode. No one's going to listen to it. But I was listening to something the other day, and it was a podcasting, I can't remember who it was, but it was a guy who does podcasting, and he was teaching about podcasting, and he said how important the first episode is, because if someone, even if you've done 500 episodes and someone's just found you, they always go back to the very, very start. Well, they're going to go back to the start and think, what the hell is she talking about? So that's a big learning, but if I hadn't done it, then I would never have learned that lesson. I clearly need to go back to that and put some kind of intro so people know, so people understand when they first listen what the whole thing is about. But whatever, live and learn.
You needed that first episode though to work out the direction that you wanted to go. I think it was a conversation we were watching. It was almost a planning session. You could see how you were developing the idea.
Yes, and that was the point, wasn't it? It was to do it before I'd thought too much about it.
Yeah.
Just do it and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, I've proved, which is what I said at the very beginning, that either way, whether it fails or succeeds, that the learnings are going to be priceless, and they are. So again, if this doesn't go anywhere, what I've learned already after just 6 episodes is phenomenal. What that's going to do for myself personally, for my business, for the way that I talk, the way that I communicate, everything, completely priceless. So you've got to do it for that reason, because you're going to learn the lessons that you're going to learn by just putting yourself out there and just stepping that bit further out until you feel uncomfortable. You've just got to do it. Just get on with it. Just stop making excuses. 7, I've proved, remember that at the beginning when I said that I was going to prove that we are better together? I've done it. As far as I'm concerned, I've proved that point. So I've proved that I was able to do this because I had the support and backing of you, Ellie at the beginning, Ellie continuously. She's still there. We speak all the time, and I'll tell her about what's happened. I'll run things past you all the time. We achieve more together. Stop trying to do everything yourself, and stop trying to think that it's your thing, and it's your. Because that's a big thing in business, isn't it? You start something and you feel like it's yours, and I've never felt like that. This is the first thing I've ever started, and it's not been mine. It's always been our thing, and that's been really transformative for me, actually. Number 8, really, really, really important. Just start before you are ready. And everything I've ever done in my life, I have over-prepared for, or I've tried to get everything perfect. I've procrastinated, and that's not because I want it to be perfect. We all know it's just because it's your own insecurities of not wanting to fail, not wanting to look like a dickhead, not wanting to sound bad, not wanting to be criticised. All of these things. So for the first time in my life, I started something before I was ready to do it. And there's never a perfect time, we know that.
Done, not perfect.
Done, not perfect. And how do you know what to actually perfect if you haven't even done it yet? How do you know what you need to change if you haven't put it out there to your audience? You've got no criticism yet, you've got no feedback yet, you've got nothing to go off. How can you perfect something that hasn't even started?
And that goes back again to episode 1, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Where it was formulating that.
Yeah, I feel like it's starting to come full circle. And think about it. This is only after 6 episodes. This is monumental to me, and I feel like it would be monumental to anybody who just went out and did that thing and just put themselves out there. Just stop procrastinating. That's a really hard word to say. Stop procrastinating and just get the fuck on with it. 9, I've learnt loads of new skills. As with anything that you learn so much about yourself and you learn loads of new skills. And I've learned tons of new skills through doing this, and unless you go and do it, well, you're just going to stay where you are. Being able to talk in front of a camera, although I'm still learning that. Confidence. I've learned what I wanted it to become as well. I know now what I want this to become, and if I hadn't started to do this, that would never have happened. And I remember, did Ellie not say in the first conversation that we had, would you not have guests on? And I was like, well, obviously you wouldn't have guests on until you'd done like loads of episodes and you'd become sort of, I don't know, you had a certain amount of success with it first. Otherwise, why would anybody want to come on? But they have come on. And actually it was the 3rd episode I had guests on. And I'm really pleased because I found that a little bit scary to do that, because why would anybody want to come and speak on something that's completely brand new and doesn't have a following yet? But they did. And now because of that, I've now realised that's where I want it to be. Because me just blethering on my own isn't as interesting as me having a conversation with somebody. 10, I've gained loads of confidence, even though I still feel quite nervous now. But that's because I haven't got anyone here sat with me, having a conversation with them. So it's a bit more scary for me, but it's still a lot less scary than it was on episode 2, I think it was, when I felt like I wanted to be sick. But it's only been 6 episodes, for God's sake, how much you can learn from just going out and doing it. 11, which we just added at the end because I was telling you that I had to sit and write these things, and then I thought because I wasn't having a conversation about it, there wasn't as much coming out. If we had a conversation and I sat down with someone and discussed how this had been going and what I'd learned, I would be able to talk a lot more about it. So my 11 is that I feel like more comes from conversations than from sitting by yourself writing lists, for example. And that's what I wanted the whole thing to be about in the first place. I want to have real conversations, because I find that the conversations that we have in our little groups, you know, with your other business owners, people going through the same shit that you're going through and the ups and the downs, that's not the stuff that we're talking about online. Because we then go online and then we fluff things up and we dust ourselves off and we put our big girl pants on and like we try and look more confident or look like we're feeling more confident, and we perfect things and we shine things and we polish things. But actually those conversations that we had behind the scenes before we pressed play, that's where the value is. Because that's where you tell the truth, because there's no camera and there's nobody listening. And that's what I want this to be about. So those were my 11 things, but there's so much more. There's so much more. And me bearing my soul to the world on camera is a really, really, really big, it's a big deal for me. It's quite hard to put into words what a big deal it is for me, because anyone sort of my family, anyone who knows me really, really well will tell you that I was like self-destruct when I was younger and when I was teenage and in my 20s and things. I was literally in self-destruct mode. I mean, I hated myself. I would have done, being really, really blunt, I'd have done anything to not wake up in the morning. That's how much I hated myself. Hated school, and did lots of stupid things in order to get out of my own head, so I didn't have to, that's for another episode. But that's how big a deal this is for me. So although I'm a really confident person now, and I can walk into, and anyone who knows me enough to have spoken to me will know that, and go into any room, any environment. I don't care who you are, where you are, what status you are. I don't care if you're famous or, you know, you're just such and such from next door. I treat everybody the same way, and I have the same sort of confidence in that scenario that I didn't used to have. Podcast Paddock. The lovely guys there that we're really excited to go and learn from. We are going to talk about our experience of starting this whole thing up. And you, Neil, are going to have a chat about your expertise in actually podcasting from the other side of the camera, and how you help us get through that. So that's quite cool. And you are, aren't you? I'm excited to watch you do that, in fact. But I'm actually all right about doing it now. So had I been asked, because obviously it's being filmed, and I think if somebody had said that to me 6 months ago, I'd have went, oh God, not if it's being filmed. But I don't mind that now, but that's because of going through this process. But there's so much more that we've learned. But I just wanted to actually talk about the things that I'd learned, because in the first episode, I did say I was going to share everything, and I was going to share the learnings, and I was going to share the failures, the successes, and all of those things. And I've talked a lot about the successes there, because they are successes, but realizing the way that I talk to people, and the way that I but fill in those gaps, but it's partly because I'm excited, because I'm really genuinely like, oh my God, yeah. But that's how you would act in a conversation, not on a podcast when people are actually listening. They don't want to hear your agreeing to things whilst people are talking. So that's really important. It gives, you know, doing something like this, though, it gives you a reason to go out and talk to people as well. So I've had a reason now to reach out to people, because there's a purpose behind this. You know, we're on this mission together, and I think that we can really, really help people to put themselves out there. I think that this can genuinely do that. And I know that it already has with a few people, because they've told me. So I know that we can do this, and I know that we can help lots of people. But I feel as if the reason that we can do that well is because we're being honest, we're being open and honest. We're not just, you know, saying, look, you've got to put yourself out there. Here's some great ways to do that. We're actually saying, look, we're doing it now, actually doing it. This is what we've learned. I've learned that I'm really shit at that. I've learned that I'm not so good in this situation because I've got nobody to talk to, and I feel really like in the spotlight. But I'm still doing it because I know that I'm going to get better and better as it goes. So I have to do it, and I have to put it out there. But yeah, there's no more excuses. No more excuses. You've just got to go and do it. You've got to go and do it, and you've got to be shit first. I've been shit first. So yeah, you've got to start shit, and you've got to stop waiting for it to be perfect, because clearly nothing can be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. Even if you've done it for 100 years, it's not going to be perfect. And you know that the people, you know, when you scroll through, when you see some certain videos and reels, and you see how perfected they are, and they are so, I mean, they're beautiful and streamlined. They're really good to watch. They're really great. They're brilliant. I'm not, you know, dissing these things. I'm just saying that if your thing isn't to be perfect like that, that doesn't fit with your brand, because, you know, you want people to see the real you, because that's who they're going to be working with. How are they ever going to do that if you script something so perfectly and you've done take after take after take? They're still not going to see the real. They're not getting a feel of the real you. How are they going to know if they want to work with you? How are they going to get a feel of who you are if you do that? So yeah, you've got to just go out there and be, and just, God, please, people are actually rooting for you. Aren't they? They genuinely are. Yet there are going to be people out there who aren't rooting for you, but usually that's through jealousy because they're kind of a bit gutted that they haven't done that themselves. But then that's sad in a way that, you know, they're just actually not feeling great.
And they're not our kind of people.
Yeah.
We don't know these people.
And you always know that the people, the haters or the people that give you shit, it's usually deep rooted, you know, in their own self or lack of self-belief or lack of whatever it is that they have, and they feel they need to do that. And we should just actually feel bad for them instead, because I've been through a phase of, you know, not hating, but looking at people and going, oh, they're doing my head in, you know. And you actually, it's probably, if I think about it, it was probably just because, oh, they're doing something that I really wish. That's just me being honest. They'll have been doing something that I really wish that I'd done or had the balls to do, and instead I'm sitting here not being able to do it. And years ago I would do that, and that will have been why. It will have absolutely have been, I'll have been jealous because they're at a place that I wish that I was at. But that was my problem, not theirs. The only reason I don't feel like that now, and I don't have jealousy, and I actually want people to do well, and I enjoy seeing people do well, is because I'm happy in myself now. Be more Gruffalo. Get out there, stop making excuses up, do the thing. Just stop procrastinating, and it's never going to be the right time. So now's the right time. So just get the fuck on with it. That's my advice.